to your day off. My name is Corey. I'm sitting with actually, I'm not sitting with my best friend Tony. So today,
I'm still your best friend.
You're still my best friend. You're my bestie girlfriend.
There you go.
Female friend. We gotta watch that girl thing. People start talking. So today, my guest co-host is Katie May, and Katie May is an integral part of the Hairdustry movement, and she's the brains behind the operation. I come up with ideas, and then Katie tells me I'm stupid. We can't do it.
No. No, I think Jerry put it best. Or you guys, you'll be the brain, and I'm like everything from the neck down.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. Jerry from Schedule.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's totally fair. So Katie's joining us on the podcast today, but we also have our guest today is she's kind of like not even a guest. She's been on the podcast so many times. She's almost just like a member of the family at this point.
Absolutely.
But today we're talking to Nina Tulio, and as always, Nina has just unbelievable information to share. And today she's going to share some more unbelievable information.
Yes. So I'm all ears.
I'm all ears too. I can't wait. I don't even know what we're talking about today, but we'll throw it to her, and then she'll let us know. So, Miss Nina Tulio, welcome back to your day off.
Hello, my friends. I'm home.
Hi.
I'm ready.
You're home, man. Although it can't be home if you have your own podcast, Nina.
But it's home. Home. It's like my heart. You know, I feel like
we're like the lake house that you go to on the weekends.
I was thinking like we're the apartment complex, and we're just all like little, podcasts in the apartment.
The lake house sounds pretty.
Yeah, the lake house is better.
Oceanfront, even. I'll take that too.
Yeah,
I'm home. Yeah, I feel it. I
feel vacation home.
I feel like I've been out for a little while. I was missing my home, but I'm back.
Guess who's back?
I'm excited.
That's right. So, Nina, what are we talking about, bro?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know? So,
yes, I would.
So we're going to talk about tracking numbers today and the importance of tracking, and also, how stylists have really transformed their business in terms of the way that they're growing their business with tracking their numbers.
Actually, it's amazing that Katie's sitting in with us today, because she is definitely a proponent of tracking. And pretty much as long as I've known Katie, she's every morning before work, she sits and she does her numbers and she tracks her numbers. So what a perfect guest for a perfect topic. Exciting. Or perfect co-host.
I knew I loved you, girl, already. Knew it. So yeah, awesome. I mean, I think part of tracking, and I guess really, I shouldn't even generalize and say tracking, but part of really growing a business in general, whether it's on social media, if it's networking, meeting people in person, if it is, anything that you're trying to really do to, retain guests, the consistency is the key for tracking your numbers. And I find that it's also the hardest to get hairstylists to commit to when it comes to numbers, because let's just be real. Numbers, all of that, it's not fun. You'd rather be out there on the floor creating and doing beautiful hair and taking care of your guests. But this is such an integral part of growing a business and becoming successful. And again, defining your own success, because we all have something different in terms of what we mean by success. But I can tell you that there have been hairstylists that have been with me or coached by me or worked with me or just downloaded my tracking sheet because it's free and they can download it, that have seen tremendous growth. And it's not because of me. It's because they've committed to actually tracking their numbers daily and weekly, consistently.
Well, Nina, you said something that like tracking your numbers or something, isn't fun or isn't sexy, but if you commit to it, honestly, within a month or so, it becomes sexy. It becomes attractive, because now you're seeing results. Now you're seeing results that you haven't seen through the first 20 years of your career. Now you have real results with real numbers that aren't like bullshit, like what I think about stuff. It is what it is, And I think honestly, that's why people are scared to start them, because they're like, they don't want to know the numbers, right? They don't want to know oh, maybe I'm slacking off here. But what happens is this thing clicks in your brain. And then when you have that extra 15 minutes, you're like, oh, I can do an add-on here, right? And then you're playing to the numbers as opposed to being intimidated by the numbers.
I have struggled, like you, Nina, to convince people when I was in my salon to get them to track, because I literally grew my business 30% in a year.
Wow.
from starting to track.
Strictly from tracking.
Good for
And I
you.
don't know how to get people to understand it. It's because it's literally, like Corey said, it just, once you start doing it, you get like a month in, it clicks and there is no stopping you. And you keep pushing yourself when you see those numbers, and you push yourself to add more. It's like you start out with just an add-on, or then you start out then maybe with the product, and you just keep growing, and it's amazing. Like you literally have full power of your book when that happens.
Oh my God, I totally agree. And I think you're right. So when you start to see results, it becomes addicting, right? But it's not getting to the point of committing to it, because the first couple weeks, you're really not going to see too much transition or growth. And that's where then some stylists give up. It's almost the same as committing to strategic marketing on social media. If you have a program that you're going to do for your marketing, you can't just do it for 3 weeks and give up. You're not going to have a return on your investment that quickly after just 3 weeks. You have to push through. So usually you're right, Katie, it's about a month when you, or Corey, I'm not sure who said it, but it's usually about a month.
It was me.
It was. Let's be clear. It was her. Okay. So it is after about a month when you start to see the transition. And then, and I remember this, some of the happiest times or most rewarding times I can say in my salon business. And I remember vividly certain stylists in my business sitting at the front desk. And they were opposed to tracking too. But then, they got on the wagon because it was really part of our culture. But them sitting at the desk saying, Nina, if I do XYZ tomorrow, I hit my goal. So all I have to do is add on 3 add-on services, because I know that this client never had one, she never had one, he never had one. And that, to me, as an owner, as a former owner, that was the most rewarding thing, because it was the excitement. It wasn't like, oh, here.
I'm getting excited just listening to you.
I know.
It's so exciting. It's so cool.
But that's it. I mean, it's getting the stylist, because I do get a lot of questions from salon owners. Well, my stylists don't want to track. It almost has to become part of the culture. It has to become part of the routine every single day, where you have the tracking sheets hanging in the back room. So when you're eating your lunch, you're looking at them. They're, maybe they're tucked in your iPad or your book or whatever you keep. And when you have downtime, you're looking at them and saying, okay, this is where I'm at today. This is where I need to be by the end of the week. What am I going to do to get there? The tracking sheet just allows you to be more aware. Right? Now you're focused. And what I always say, and it's one of my favorite quotes, is what you continue to focus on, or what you focus on, will continue to grow. So if you put all your time and energy into this tracking sheet, and it's just a sheet, that's it, right? You're just paying attention to your productivity, your percentage booked, your pre-booking, your retail sales, RTS, service. You're paying attention to it, so it continues to grow.
Well, I love that. It's the law of attention, right? Whatever you pay attention to, you'll get better at.
Well, and so Corey used to mentor at the salon that I worked at. And something he would always say about tracking is the maybe not so great part is that you are now accountable, right?
Yes.
Because you're writing these numbers down, and you could be doing this, and this, or whatever. And you're seeing in black and white what you are and you're not doing. And he used to I just always remember him being like, it's not going to be fun at first, but
No.
I promise it's going to get awesome.
Absolutely. You have to ease into it. I think it's, it's looking, you can't understand and grasp where you're trying to go if you don't know your starting point. So I think it's knowing, you know what? And it may be a smack in the face a little bit in the beginning, like, wow, I thought I was doing, because I hear this all the time from stylists, I thought I was doing $1,800 a week. But when we get down to the nitty gritty and we pull averages, they're really only doing $1,300 a week. And they're blown away by that because they're not paying attention to it. But you know what? Yeah, it hurts a little bit, but you're like, okay, I'm at 13. I need to be at 18. If I break it down small and I look at my average ticket and then I divide that and see how many clients I need to see per day, seeing 4 or 5 clients per day is better than looking at a week saying I need 30 clients. You break it down so small. So now you're like, oh, 5 guests in one day, no problem at just say 100 average ticket. Could be more, could be less. but I feel like it's just being aware, and the accountability side is huge. I always say this, give me 1 month with the tracking sheet. Just do it for 30 days. And I mean, commit to it. Don't do 1 day here, 1 day you're off. No, you have to commit to it. And I'm telling you, you will notice a huge, huge difference in the way that you treat your guests, the way that you educate them, the way that you talk to them. You'll start to see a difference in your retention. I mean, all of this stems from tracking and paying attention to your numbers. And then of course your numbers grow. I had a hairstylist that started tracking, and she is up, and she's diligent about it. She's up over $8,000 over her last year. And that's huge. That is huge for a hairstylist.
And you know what's funny about the $8,000 is literally that $8,000 is nickels and not literally, but it's a few treatments here. It's a few products here. It's not you're not overtaking the entire book, but hairdressing is one of the working within the industry is one of the very few industries where you can literally control your raise. You literally can control how much money you make over the next year. And I love that idea of kind of looking at a year and like, oh look, I can give myself a $10,000 raise, and it's only going to cost me whatever 2 conditioning treatments a day, right? And like Nina said, do it over 30 days, but it's really 20 days, right? Because if you're working 5 days a week in the salon times 4, that's only 20 days. So you're only committing to it for 20 days, which could, change your life completely.
Absolutely.
What's that thing we see? I see it on Instagram a lot. Like if you commit 6 months to something, you can change the trajectory of your entire life. And it's kind of that. It's just in a shrink. It's just in a shorter
amount of time. And you see you'll see results a lot faster too, if you really are diligent and you're paying attention to it. And, one of the excuses, I'm not real big on excuses, but I hear this, is I don't have time. I don't have time. But let's look at your percentage booked. And they're like, oh, I'm busy. I hear this, and I just had a conversation with a stylist the other day about it. Oh, I'm booked. I'm so busy. I said, well, what is your percentage booked? And she said, well, it's probably, I don't know, I'm going to say maybe 65, 70%. Well, when we broke it down and we really got in there and started to look at her percentage booked, doing it day by day for a month, guess what? She was like 56% booked.
Wow.
So it's the reality of it's being real and honest with yourself. And it's not that she wasn't being honest with herself. It's just that her perception was she was busy 65 to 70% of the time. She didn't know because she wasn't paying attention to the actual facts. And the facts are how many guests she was seeing per day. So, and when I said that to her, she's like, oh my goodness, are you serious? I have a lot of work to do. And so then she almost shifted her mindset. So it actually can be a good thing when you start to see where you are. And I know you guys can relate to this too. I used to do the same thing when I was a hairstylist, but when you think that you saw your client, Rachel, oh my God, I just saw her. It must have been like 6 or 7 weeks ago. And then you check in the book and she hasn't been in 3 months.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right? Yeah. We all do that because our perception sometimes isn't, in most cases, reality, because we're just so consumed with the fast paced and working and taking care of guests, and time flies by so fast that we really forget to look at the facts. And so I'm saying pay attention to the facts. The tracking sheet will help you do that.
I literally had a client in last month and I was like, oh man, I haven't seen you in like 6 months. And then I go look back, it was a year and a half.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, and I even said something to her. I was like, man, I haven't seen you in a long time. It's been like 6 months. She's like, nope, it was like a year and a half ago. I was like, oh. She went to Florida for, like a year and a few months,
Wow.
Whatever, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, you're right. Mind blown. Like, oh, guess I didn't miss you that much.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think it is, all I'm saying is just kind of commit to doing something different. If you find that you're in a rut or you feel like you're stuck and you're not making more money and you're not growing, let's actually leave the money out of it. Maybe you just feel like you're not growing, right? Commit to doing something different, because people who are successful in this business are willing to do the things that other people are not willing to do. And so if you're not cool with tracking and that's not your jam, I'm saying do it, because this is something that can really change you because you've never done it before. Just commit to it.
Hey Nina, so we keep using the word tracking, and I know that you're going to have a tracking sheet that people can download. But can you kind of just go over like what on the tracking sheet, like what are we tracking? You know, what specifics are we tracking?
Absolutely. So it's service sales, and this will be broken down per day for you. So there's actually a slot on the top where it will have your goal. So you can break it down and put that there per week, because the tracking sheet is done for you per week. So you have your goal on the top for service and retail, and then it will be service, retail. It is percentage booked, which is very important to pay attention to. It is pre-booking percentage. And
now, do you give the formulas to figure this out as well on the tracking sheet?
So yes, great question. So when they go, because I did receive some feedback that people were not sure on how to calculate the percentage booked, which was great feedback. So on my website, where I'm going to send them to download, it will actually show them how to do the percentage booked, because everything else they can pull very easily. Either if they're calculating it by hand, which the majority of stylists now are using a point of sale system. So they can pull all of the information right from their point of sale system and then just transfer it on the sheet, which then leads me into another segue. Stylists are like, well, why do I have to use the sheet if I can just pull everything off my point of sale system? The reason why you're using it on the sheet is because you're not looking at your point of sale system and your numbers in your point of sale system. It's not in your face every single minute of the day.
Well, the point of sale system is your past, right? Your tracking is your future.
What? Let me find out about that. Seriously, my mind just like exploded. Yes, you're getting averages from the point of sale system, but they're thinking, well, why do I have to use a tracking sheet every day if I can just walk up to the desk and pull up and look at what I'm doing today? Right?
You're not productive enough if you got time to walk up to the desk.
But it's not about it's not about that. It's because the tracking sheet is your accountability, right? To look at it in the computer is there's something there's excuses between you and that computer. Once you write it down on a piece of paper, the excuses are done.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
Yes, what do you always tell me?
Yeah. It's a smart cookie, but it's true. And I always feel like, and even with, working with stylists when I was in the salon and just talking to hairstylists about creating goals, it's always very beneficial to have them write it out, because when they write it out, it holds them accountable. So you're so dead on with that. And the tracking sheet is just hanging there in front of you to say, okay, here's your reminder. This is where you were. This is where you want to be. Let's get to it. And all you have to do, it literally takes, Katie, how long does it take you to do this per day to track?
I mean, not even 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say 10 minutes, boom, done. You have 10 minutes.
But I go very thorough into it. That's why it takes me 10 minutes.
No, but I think it's true because you want to make sure it's correct, right? So 10 minutes, it's fair.
But you know what else? I mean, you said this earlier about people not having time. Like once you start committing to this and, after the 30 days and you're excited about this, you come in 10 minutes early, right? You come in 15 minutes early because you want to slay the day. It puts you in a position where you want to slay the day.
I would love it if people listening started doing the tracking and then messaged us and Nina and let us know after 30 days.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Where they're at.
30-day commitment.
Yes.
Everyone listening out there.
Let's do it. Please.
This is your task. I think that would be awesome because I just the growth can happen so quickly. I mean, and I just know firsthand.
Absolutely. Because you're doing it and and I've done it. So I know we're just trying to get you guys on board. Again, thinking outside of the box and really being committed to change if you want to see growth for yourself in this business.
I love it. I love the game. I love it all. Nina, so where can Katie come and steal your tracking sheet? Where shall we send her?
Don't worry, girl. I'll send you a special copy. I'll put it in gold for you.
Yes.
There you go.
They can go to my website at onenagency.com/tracking. And they just put their email in and then it'll come to their email. And it's totally free. They can print out, I have stylists that print out one for the entire year. So they just have copies of it. So feel free to print them out. And I would love if you guys would tag all of us in your progress, because then we could hold you accountable. We could be like your accountability partner.
Oh yeah. I'll totally do that.
Nina, what's your Instagram so they can tag you?
Yeah.
At Nina Tulio. So NINA, the number 2 LEO.
Elio, like Leo.
Leo.
Leo might have a Leo in the room. That's awesome. Miss Nina, once again, you blow me away with your knowledge and with all that you're giving to the industry. And, you know, as a friend, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much.
And
You're the best.
once again, thank you very much for joining us on your day off. Hey, so there it is. Hey, this is a message that we've been trying to bring, I don't know, for the last couple of months, actually since we started the podcast. Hey, so if you like the podcast or if you find that it's useful, please leave us a review, a 5-star review on iTunes. Leave us a rating and a review.
But if you don't like it, forget about it.
Yeah, totally forget about this message. We also want to thank Sarah and Blaine from Pretty Gritty. Sarah and Blaine, they are a band out of Portland, Oregon, and we just want to thank them very much for allowing us to use their song, Pleased to Meet You, on our podcast. That's cool. I think you can find, actually you can find their music on iTunes.
Peace and hair grease.